All right. Now I want to talk about Australia and who's going to come and get it. Now, Australia's opened up. Talked about Australia pretty much deserves it. We talked about lessons. Australians do it to each other. They know this. If they're hypocrites or not, they end up needing to know what the real world is. Right? This is what they do to each other. Isn't there too much of that? And they're really going to find out what the real world is. Hey, these lefties and stuff. And so Australia's opened up to China, Russia. North Korea is probably not big enough, right? Mainly China. Because when you think of war tactics and war, you go, Russia could do it, right? America could take Australia, right? India probably could, right? You think about the big enough people, army, if they wanted to. But when they do that, that means they're going to defend it as well and succeed from there, right? So what real army out there, when you think about it, can do that? Now, when it comes to Australia, America right now is panicking because there's an army right now, China, that's huge and has caused really no enemies except no one likes them because they succeed so well. And they are nasty to their people, but when it comes to the world and what they're grabbing and what they've got, they succeed because they whip into submission, right? And they've made it happen, like an ant colony. And ants do quite well because of that whipping and lining and the way they think. So China reminds me of ants, right? Look out! No, you think they're nothing, right? Till there's something. But anyway, so Australia's opened up and America's worried about things. And we've got wars right now. We've got Russia, right, that also wants to attack America. We've got the towel heads, I like to call them, the desert people, religion people that like to want to attack America as well. America has a lot of enemies and have a bit of history too. And back in World War II, they also snobbed people. So World War II started because Hitler was going around, right, doing what China perhaps might do soon, right? They started taking countries and everyone was worried, shit, he's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and eventually he'll come to you, right, like in 300. Then you'd be going and giving you an offer and going, I could be kind, right? No one wants that, right? Because they get too powerful where no group can end up stopping them, right? More than 50% kind of thing, like lefties giving all these problems, right? Because there's just too many lefties, right? In parliaments. So you get their lefty ideology. Sorry, I couldn't get that out properly, as I do have a little bit of a dry mouth, as I just had a drink of a cold tea. And it gives me this like dry mouth, like cotton mouth, like you see in another show, me, myself and Irene. But let's get back to Australia. Now, Australia been fighting each other, been saying that they're so cool, but they're not. You know these type of people? They go, oh, dude, yeah, we're the best. But really, when you look behind the scenes, they're off living off credit cards. Their parents and their friends don't really like them when you go talk to them because they're just scavengers. But they always make themselves look good when they're around a scab. You know them type of people? Well, we've got a whole fucking nearly 50% more of the population in Australia than or whingers, lefties. Right? Scavengers and lefties. And people from overseas and shit like that, mixed culture. And they've been like that for about 30 years. If you go back in the 70s, 80s, it wasn't too bad. It just got worse after World War II. They got their shit together after they got whipped and they didn't like it, they remembered it. But then when the new kids come along, the new generation, they don't really know it. They don't really feel it like the birds. You get new birds, they'll start flying around like they do near the cats because they don't know it, right? And then they're going to quickly either get told by another bird or learn the lesson and live through it and go, shit, that thing's dangerous, right? Same thing. So when it comes to the culture, they're bitching at each other right now. And this culture reminds me of, the people who get involved in your relationship and they know a little bit of you. Right? And then they go, oh, you should leave that dude. Oh, he's this, and that, what they've seen. Right? And they give you an opinion of that and they keep going, yeah, just leave him. You got to talk about someone you love and they go, just leave him, man, already. But they don't know it all. Right? That's what these people are like. Right? And someone gets stabbed, they're like, just take all their knives. All these things, when you look at the whole. But when you go back, you see it was right and got worse. and then broken promises and things like that when it comes to Australia. And a lot of countries, in fact, out there in this story. But we'll get back to Australia now today. And now we've got an army, and go back in the last 10 years, I used to hear all the time on the news, oh, we don't need factories, we don't need this because we're smart Australians. Fucking cocky, eh? Even what I just spoke about. True, right? We're all office workers. Everybody's going to need us. We don't need all these other factories. We're smarter. We'll buy from them and then double sell it from there. We're all salesmen. We all can be beach walkers. Look at me on the news. Yes, we tell our kids to be just like us, and we promote that. You know what I mean? And that's their bubble. That's happening right now. They'll be saying, it's such a lovely Christmas. Everybody is perfect. You're a hero, you're in my group too. Everybody is a hero in dreamland too. Right? Do I sound like Smeagol then? But there are bubble people. Right? You got these bubble people over here that have whips, badges and stuff. Right? And then you had all the other problems. Huh? That's Australia. Pretty fucking sad when you think about it. And then they got an army that's smaller than South Korea's army with matches, and they've got a little island. We're this big. They're like this big. Right? But it's all right because we're all so cool, because we so are. Everybody's going to help us. You know those people? But that might not be true. Now, let's get back to what I was just saying earlier. Now, when a country comes, so if America can't save our ass and they've got some enemies, so you got over here, and he's got a little over here. They've got a little island too, which is English. So they can't really do too much these days with the toys we've got now. When you go back in technology, little places can hold off with cool little technology and have the most, and at some stage they did, and that was their time. But England's been losing their time since then. Right? And they just sit there in their dreamland in a way too, old history of castles and old shit. Right? And they got the best of that. And they put a big price on it, so it makes them look big as well. But that's if they like it, or other people like it, when it comes to old stuff like that. And they have kings and queens still, they're that old. And those kings and queens say, well, if I want you to all drive purple cars, you better do it. Otherwise, I won't be happy. And I do have a little army, and I do have whispers in other people's ears. So you better listen to what I say. And so in England, they all drive these particular taxis because of those type of philosophy thinkers. And they love it. They're nearly... With kings and queens, you nearly have those people how they own nothing, but they will love it, right? They all like in North Korea, they own even more nothing. And guess what? He looks like every time he comes out, the most celebrated, biggest hero ever. Perhaps we should get some news people over here from Australia to go speak about him. They'll be good at it, right? But anyway, let's get back to Australia. Now, Australia's all open up where you've got a little army, you can probably defend. Maybe the army's good enough to technically, when shit hits the fan, all run and take all your shit to Tasmania. You might have a chance to have that. They might even go, fuck. Actually, they can have it for a while. Right? That'll give you some time if you're smart enough to try to fix yourself and get your friends to come. Right? That'll probably be the best thing to do, I reckon, when it comes to Australia. In a real choice, in a game, sorry, sacrifices. And when you play these games, you'll find out if you don't, you just lose. Like, if you try to battle, you'll lose everything. So what you got to do is a no-win situation. You know what's coming, and you're smart enough. You run to an area, right, in these games, right? And they teach you the same similar strategies of what real life is, right? It helps you learn things, and you learn it. And you play these games on the hardest. Don't play them on easy. Because then you go, I'm the fucking best, look at me beating them. Well, I see these people all the time, and they're playing it on medium or easy. And I'm like, well, that's easy, but that's not real life. Even playing on hardest is not even real life. So if you can't play it on hardest, you're in dreamland, really. Even that shooting's not right. It shoots you easy, it lets it kill. Right, people? But, no, these lefties, as long as they're in dreamland, it's okay, right? And they've got badges and power. Fuck! And they become just this. But anyway, back to Australia. So Australia, we'll put now to invasion. So I just told you pretty much what they've got. The people are, the problems, the big debt. So now they need to defend themselves with bigger debt, future debt. They've got no factories, hardly. They said they didn't need them because everyone would want them, right? We hit there pretty much, right? The biggest scale. Go back and have a look. That's what I've learned and seen. I watch a lot of news and a lot of docos. That's what I mainly do, isn't it, Emma? When it comes to watching that devil box, right? And looking at its phone and the internet as well, as the Jehovah's Witness was to say, it's designed from the devil to keep you more like sheep. Definitely if you don't see, you don't know. As I was talking to Emma just before about when you get zombinized by the devil and you come in when it wants to be a smart ass, you end up seeing it. I know when it's the devil around and when it's not. When people are normal and when they're not. Huh? Like I was talking about with the cops malfunction and they just walked away. Because the devil was around. They weren't being normal. They're being zombinized. Right? That's that kind of thing. It's a big story to talk about. But that's how it goes. Right? And then when he's not around, you go, huh? And you have these moments where, why did I say that? Because the devil influenced you, was there, and all these kind of things. And you got able to see the higher, then all of a sudden you see it everywhere down here. It's the same similar thing. That's why I can do this stuff. Right? Because I all of a sudden got the education to know the basics to go. And then you start to learn all these things if I want to. Right? Which is why I talked about I'll be good in these certain areas because I'm a quick learner and I've got the basics of quickly doing things that a lot of people don't even have or willing to even do, which is sad. Right? And so let's get back to Australia and an invasion. So when China, so we say China wants it, so we hear about China wanting Taiwan. I've talked about tactics before. Taiwan has a big army. He has an army. When you start things, you want to go for an easier target. You don't want to look bad, so you never really go for the biggest one, even though you've got a big army, because usually you could just win, but you only got a little bit. Say you took all what you got, but you need something, unless you've got something to defend, another double behind, which is why you need a big army, right? Because you've got to leave some behind, right? They could still defend all most other armies. So the army's still big enough than most of theirs back there. Cool, that's the ultimate goal, definitely in these games, right? Because they will retaliate, even in the games when you go there. You lose all your army. And I've even done it where I took all the people because I'm going to wipe them out, so I won't need any here if I wipe them out. It'll be easy wipe out, and then you find out it's not. And then they retaliate. They go, fucking cunts, and they come in the game, and they kill your base. It's happened to me before when I was a kid playing certain games. I level it up. That's what happens, and that's what happens in real life, too. There'll always be a retaliation towards an enemy if you haven't talked to them and now you're fish fighting. There'll be a retaliation. And definitely if there's, and when that's happening in the anger, it takes time now for a while for that anger to die down before real conversations usually come in again. And so you try not to let anger cause any issues in the first place. And you usually get along and your ego and stuff like that. But usually they go, oh, it's mine. No, you can't have this. I don't want to reason. And that's how usually a war starts. Besides their own other egos, him rocking up and going, I just want. Right? And usually the more they go, just want, the more the other world will help you. But the more they're actually right and they go, shit, you up, your people are starving too. Right? Your people are this. I can actually help them in this way. I know it's a little different. Hey, we're going to meet in the middle. Or we war and everyone else goes, well, they need it anyway. They're both, they're over there. Right? And how does that happen? America did that in World War II. To England. Right? When the Germans were running around at the start. And England goes, yeah, we're cool. We're like Australia. We're like, we've got America. They'll be all right. Right? And England wasn't all right. But England was the only one that stood up to and knew the problem and stood up to them. They didn't have to go over there, but they knew the threat was coming anyway, and it did, before they really stood up. It was coming, and they were sticking up for rights. And America goes, yeah, we stick up for rights, but then when it comes to the crunch, they didn't. But who did at that time? The ones that actually created those rights. England, thank God. Right? Because England created America, really, and got that started in how they speak. Well, that's so simple. Right? So they defended those rights in World War II and went to defend France and all over there, right? And try to slow down Hitler because if Hitler continued with France and then was about to take Russia, right? If England didn't get involved, they probably would have took Russia. And once they got Russia, holy fucking shit, we talk about how big a threat Russia is now, right? They would have been a big dominant force then they would have easily went for England. That was their next target, to go stop something that was opposite from them in a certain way. Right? And England couldn't have that. But then, even England stepping in early, lucky they did, because they were getting their asses kicked. Right? That's why they stepped in. Right? Just look at the history. And if they didn't, America wouldn't even be America, you cowards. But you end up not being cowards. But you were at the start. Just look at history. Oh, who cares, people? Right? They've got their own problems. Until it was hang on, I'll tell the people now, because the people is America. But at first, they were, hey, who gives a fuck? I know they're standing up for their rights, but we don't want to. We've got a credit card and we're picnics and, gee, look at me. I don't want to. They're doing that. Countries doing that at the moment too. It's just repeated history. You can learn from it and you can understand it. When you understand it, you can learn from it. You can get these basics. You can move on. You can see when you learn from it where the failure is of those basics. So, which I've already done, 10 years ago on that one, the system. And I could have fixed it 10 years ago. I can go, look, here's a spot here. I can go, here's a spot here, here's a spot here, because I've got the basics. And I see all the spots corrupted. There's not a spot that I don't see that I go, shit, that's wrong. Why do you have that? That's not righteous. Right? Now, I understand profit, and then some of them is just profit or control. Most of it's about control. Well, who cares? Or profit. That's not righteous. There's profit margin. There's a righteous profit. That's not a righteous profit. You get it? So that's not righteous. Right? And so anyway, we get back to this, where Australia thinks they don't need a big army because they've got America, we've got England, and they're going to come run it. America and with England, that didn't happen, right? And then until shit hit the fan, and because that didn't happen, I believe, right, and others do too, and check out history. Because that didn't happen, the Japanese, because if you don't stop the bad guys, and people see the bad guys, and they're winning, like people see North Korea and want to be like that as well, because they get away with it. They go, I want to be like that too, then. I want to be like that superstar. I want to be like that beach walker. And they try to do what they need to do, and then they join their little cult gangs to be that. That's what the beach walker says. If you can deceive and have a smile on your face, and do this and do that, right, and say it's all legit, you can be a beach walker. And you've got a little bit of branch. Right? And so on and so on and so on. And it's up to you to be these things. Or you can just be righteous, and you've got the people over here going, be this, but we can't show what to be. We're like America. We're not like England. That's what I talk about with Legion. They're like America. They've got something there, right? They keep it over there. They don't give a fuck. They're not defending it. They're not defending their rights. They'll actually be, they'll go to another country and go, so what do I need to do because you say this? Because I don't really technically have any rights. I haven't earned it. I don't defend it. We've had stories of it. They're pretty cool. And another story's going to come. Right? That's religion. And their stories change as another story came. We finally got realisation over here on this problem. We got attacked a lot. We don't usually realise in this group when you look back at religion till we're really down and out, which is sad, right? Which is why they say a lot of people in religion are down and out people, which could be true, right? We have God that comes and saves them, right? And they need everyone's money until perhaps they do know how to support themselves. Right? Till then, you'll hear, donations, please, forever and ever until I get it right. Sounds like the devil, doesn't it? But anyway, we'll get past that and get back to Australia. Now, if China comes over here, do they want Thailand? I'm going to finish this off. I've got things to do, actually. Just don't have to talk too much. I like to lab sometimes. Taiwan is a big threat. You're only going to get a little bit of land. And over here is a lot of resource. So in the game, right, you're best to go to quickly knock it down. Australia's best. A lot of resources. Small army, you can get to it quicker. That one there is going to be a battle straight away. They're pretty well defended. This one's not, whereas then you can build on there, infiltrate, hide in the bushes. You do the same thing in the games. On the ground. But definitely get a contract in this corner. Fucking yeah. And you've had it for a while already. Scary for Australians. But hey, they had money, they were poor, they were great. They did all these things. It's scary when you think about it. They've actually left open for this enemy that I'm talking about, has gotten all the spots it needs to do what I'm talking about if it needed to. Scary. So the army would already be here. They would already influence. They would already attack the economy to make it weaker. with their influences, with their money, with their buying, burning off farms like you heard some people do to just fucking get rid of that area because they're competition, burn off a building, buying a building, just get rid of it, not even use it. Businesses do it. Yeah, already screwed. They'll make sure you get an Some people say Albanese is a useless character and it's going around. And I always like to put I go with Albanese these days because it goes perfect with See, if you get a person, you can get an Albanese, right, put in and it weaken the economies. Right? Someone who shouldn't be there. So like enemies will influence and even pay because when it comes to elections, it's about money and stuff like that and making it look good, business. Right? So money helps. Doesn't succeed it, but it certainly can nearly guarantee it in a lot of areas. Definitely you can get a point across and make something look like something. So usually at election times and certain things, if they want certain issues, you'll see a sudden accent occur towards where they can get their outcome. Right? Wasn't them, but hey, we're going to use this information while we're here. Right? Which is sometimes it can be legit, but most of the time it can be made up. You can easily make them up. Right? Pay a group over here to go attack over there. Wasn't me. Right? That could have actually happened in Israel. There's no real proof we didn't get to get the people. We didn't interrogate them through a UN court system where we can find out all the information. It was country he said over there, we don't get real information. And because we don't get able to get those real information, we don't know if these things are paid, organised or anything. And isn't that scary and sad? That you haven't even got a system in the world that can save you, so you keep asking for God that's never around to do such a thing. Isn't that sad too? But anyway, we'll get back to Australia. And that's you're meant to have one, but it's all like the TV show. It looks good, and it is for that little group over there, but not for everyone else. Right? Just like in certain people there, they go, "Oh, here in Australia, you're all safe in this corner." So they will show all these people all safe over here, like our North Korean deceased people. Right? A similar outcome, but in a smaller or higher scale. Right? Where North Korea goes, just come to this place where it looks good, and we're all like that. Right? That's like that in a lot of areas where you hear people speak on TV and the government saying that it's fixed, but it's not. And then they actually argue about it. You want to see the truth by their arguments that it never really changes. But the other one pops up and goes, yeah, whatever you fucking reckon, mate, it's fucking ours. Look, that dickhead there. I think he was Joe Blow's friend. Yeah, that one there, he got it. We can't do them all. Those didn't apply right. They must have done something. They need to do more. Right, everybody. But we have technically fixed it. Not kind of thing. You know what I mean? You got to get in. You're the beach walker kind of thing. Because if it was true, they wouldn't be arguing about a problem. Because it'd be fixed. They are, and this one can bring up evidence because he brings up all the poor people. But then he goes, I'm grabbing my friends at me. But he goes, yeah, but I did donate $10 out of my 100. What, you wanted 20? Oh my God. That's what they argue about, pretty much. But anyway, let's get back to Australia. Because of those issues, it helps war tactics, right? We chuck that one in. Delays helps a lot of armies not delay and get stronger, right? So delays bad, right? Besides not even getting things done. Right? So when it comes to Australia, so more likely trying to come for Australia, as we've talked about more tactics before, and they're already here. And when that happens, I'm going to say they've got it now. Australia had a 7-day war, 7 months, whatever you want to put it, 7 years. But I would say more likely with those tactics and they've gotten those abilities that you could nearly take over this place overnight. Definitely if you had an army in and then an army coming in pretty quickly, right? They probably even see it coming and even have planes that can go directly to the government areas, right? They'll definitely get the area. The government people might run off to a hole, but they'll get intel. You get intel beforehand. They probably got that, right? So you even know where they're going to run to. So you take it and then you go, let's go get them. And they're hole, right? More likely. Or they run to a country. And that's more likely where they actually they go to the hole and then they go to the country. Because intel's not hard to get these days, right? Because people blab are all not holy and have these laws and they all add to each other. And they're the world destroyers at the moment, right? No, we're not. Yes, you are. No! Right. Anyway, let's get back to now they've got Australia. Now, what's America going to do? So when that happens, or just before that happened, perhaps Russia might attack. Sometimes you wait for a bit. You get ready, then you wait. You don't go rushing and go, oh, look, we're ready now, let's go, sir. You go, hang on. Definitely if you know you're already infiltrating, stuff like that's happening, they're getting weaker. You go, no, hang on, they're already killing themselves, like in Halo, where they had the flood, and then you rock up to an island, you've got the enemy, and the enemy is getting attacked by this flood, and they attack you too, but they're powerful flood. And you go, hang on, you wait till the enemy, because when you go down there, the enemy's going to shoot at you too, and you're going to have to deal with the flood as well. So what you do is you wait in the game sometimes for the flood to kill some of the enemy, or the enemy to kill the flood, right? But usually it's the flood when they turn up in this game, right? And they kill the enemy for you. Otherwise, you can go in rushing in and you can quickly shoot the enemy too, use some of the ammo. That's what happens in the game. And then try to go for the flood. But if you just wait, you'll see a lot of half the enemy or most of the enemy get killed, and then you just go in there and kill the flood. Huh? It's similar outcomes of what people do. More tactics. If you're smart, more smart ones, you don't want dumbass ones to go, yeah, look at me, kid, look at me. They don't want that. They think they're cool, they look cool, they're living off mama's money, credit cards and shit like that. Right? They're no good people. When are you going to realise with all this technology and connection that we know what they're like now? We see their lives, we're at a time, but back in the day you can understand that you get talked and you want to be it, you see it and you couldn't get it. But these days we're pretty balanced unless you get the unbalanced. What you hear now, Richie's going beach walks. That's shit. Right? And we're going unbalanced. But we could have a really good life where we could all live pretty happily and only ego would make you want to thrive. But we've already got this ego that keeps us back. But anyway, nothing of all that because they're already there with the castle. Right? China's here. What happens if all of a sudden, before they come here, it's best to, if you already know another country is getting threats, so China's sitting here waiting. Right? This is what I do. China, I'd wait, because if this outcome, besides the one I'm about to tell you, because if this outcome comes, it makes this outcome fucking a piece of cake now. Right? And even makes your army stronger and go more likely higher morale, right? When you know that the enemy's more likely going to fail, right? Makes you a stronger people and makes your enemy weaker too. If you believe you're going to fail, you become weaker. That's why even when you're failing, in a sad case, you've got to try to make the people you know. But even when these things are all happening, because of that tactic, because these people get words confused, they can be seen right now, oh, we're all fine, and then not do things, right? And then have that fuck around, and then you're really fucked, because nothing happens. Because you ain't fine, right? And you know what I mean. But I better not talk about these areas. It gets a bit sensitive in stupid areas, and they get upset when you let out really, it's basics when I'm letting out. But I'm just putting it all in one basket. That's why it's good to have people who know a lot. They can just quickly, because the sheep can understand it quicker and people can see it quicker and they're lazy and that, so it works better. Because the other ones, when you give them a little bit and you go tell them to go research, they might not. And they're like, and then it doesn't work. They want that one. That's what they want. Right? But what China would do is you wait, you can go, oh, why are you doing that? Yeah, cool, we're cool. Right? They can talk about that we're down and out, but we're fine. We can be more independent. We've got all the material. Hey, what? Because you hear about countries trying to up themselves by saying China's so weak. It's another tactic as well. Or it could be true, but it's also a tactic. But only China would. That's what I say a lot of times that happens. Because I get that. Enemies say a lot of things to me, like getting called a pedophile. Let's go. Okay, go spread that, and then you hear all the people go, well, what a bunch of dickheads. Really? Right? Oh, fucking hell. And so if you're one of those people, that's what I think of. Right? You always should check up things yourself when people accuse you. Like me, I did a bit of research on Michael Jackson, looked up everything that they possibly said about him that we found out, their research, so-called research, right? That's what you do, best of your ability. And then make your decision for yourself. If you believe you don't want to call something you shouldn't. Because I started to, and then I did a bit of research and then went, shit, this is when I was a kid, this is why I learned not to do that. And went, shit, actually, I've got another opinion. Because we just heard about the disinfectant people. You know, in the news, how Donald Trump said you can use something like disinfectant. I'm actually getting that problem now through court, where someone says that I said something like, I want to inject you to inject disinfectant. They twist words. And so I've got to go to court about lies. That I said similar words, but they twisted. It's the other way around, like Donald Trump said about disinfectant. Trying to give you an example of what I'm going through. And I've got evidence. And the hardest thing is to actually get people to look at it. They just go, oh, no, fucking no, and they have opinions and shit. It's crazy. And you just go, oh, well, yeah. Just a little time, though. I need a donut. I'm too much of this and fucking no one of this stuff. All right, what a bad system. But anyway, let's keep on trucking for a second. Hopefully in a couple of months they don't stretch it and shit. We can get some shit sorted out when it comes to people accusing people and when you've got evidence. They don't like to be videoed and all that, but they're doing bad shit. And yet they're getting paid. It's no good, eh? And that's another thing you'd want in this system. China would love to have happen to these people because they'll attack each other. You want a country to not like it. Because when China comes, they go, oh, fuck, you're probably bad, but fuck. They won't want to fight, the morale is down. Which is sad. So when you think about Australia's story, they're right in there, man. They're like ready to be plucked, you could say, right, with all those things. And so what China would do is wait. Definitely if you're already friends and pretty much taking what you need cheaply and making money and that, that's all cool. I'm going to take all the money soon. And pretty much going to get it back. It doesn't matter. So you can sit there and wait and then hope that Russia or the Tau people and America's stirring them up. And they've always hated America, and then someone comes in and there's no hope solution. Even if you think they're weak, they can be powerful when they become the last. They get their weapons and bombs and they go, and that's when they're the deadliest. That's when they'll do that. There's nothing to lose, and then you want to take everything from them. That's dangerous, and they might have nukes and shit. They can easily do that in ports and fucking in the ocean and do all sorts of shit. You fucks. And it's easily happened in this world of these days and these people, how they speak. So it's scary to allow these things to happen. So America is quickly, and these countries are quickly trying to destroy that. And if they don't, they're going to get that outcome. Or right at the end, they're going to get that outcome anyway and then try to live through it. Because of the way it's their war. Pretty sad, eh? There's no good, because they're not all legit. They lie between each other. One group's lying, another group's, they're fucked. If one group can't prove that they can do things legit and not lie, then they're fucked. They're going to get those outcomes, is what I mean. And there's wars. Someone will win, so they might all lose. Right? But that outcome's going to happen. That's what I call they're fucked. It's happening. There's no way out of it. They're already way behind. I don't see signs yet, so at the moment I'll say they're fucked maybe in a few years, and maybe they might see some. It'll take a little bit, and then you go, oh, maybe they're not now. But at the moment, they're heading on to, they're fucked like the whole world at the moment, my opinion is, we're fucked. And we're heading to an extreme rate, and I see everyone go drill, to make that extreme rate happen even more, right? When it comes to the world and its resources and the pollution and all that kind of stuff. As they haven't got the basics. They're not even working with the basics. They're working with ego and I've got toys and we're going to use them like they did with the swords and shields. But it wasn't that bad back then. Right? And cannons, but now they got, bombs that are way more than we need to. If they went all off, they'd crack the world and blow it up. Could be our outcome in there, like I said in that planet. But back to Australia. So what happens, America gets attacked. So I say it's one of these enemies, a warhead, right? This is why Japanese come in. Because when that happens, they go, yeah, there goes them. They're not so less of a threat now of that thing. Now it's the best time to come, because as we come in, because they're going, oh, my friend, they got England's, they're way over there too, they're way away, right? And hopefully they've got problems. Maybe England might be running already to America. You wait for these situations, which you actually seen happening all now today, plucking up. And if it's a plan, it's going good. Right? If you have these plans, they're going good for about 5 to 10 years. With knocking down populations, weakening them, seeing what you can do with COVID diseases, see how strict they use, see how much people take, what they don't take, they will accept. All these things, they're getting all the answers. I've got them all, just by watching them. Didn't even have to go out and spend a dime with all these other countries to spend the money to do even more. Oh man, you can imagine it, eh? So it's all a sitting kind of facade. We're all, but really, at any time, and history's always done that too. It's going to happen. It'll happen overnight too. When big war happens, it starts suddenly, doesn't it? And saying the blitz is the best when it comes to tactics. The ultimate goal is how fast can we take them with not losing so many lives, because we don't want people not to like us so much, right? And we want them to be around us to celebrate our win. So less like. So you'd use machinery to send in as much as you can. So what's the best country to send in machinery or build it? Fucking China. Right? They could have heaps of robots. They could send in probably 100,000, right? Or your size of your army in robots. What happens if that happens? Plus with some drones, say 10 drones for each robot. It's millions of, right? You'd And then you'd shoot at them, and then all of a sudden you'd have to put your hands up, wouldn't you? They'd take your joint overnight, wouldn't they? Just think about it. They would. Definitely got no defence of it. Do you have any of that song? No. Well, we forgot that, and we do it now. What's the scenario? I think you just said it. Fuck! You know, they can come out of the ground. Right? There's simple things that can be built under their underground factories and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, scary world, isn't it? And we live in and we talk about and you see all these fights. You wouldn't want that in such a scary world. Definitely if it's starting to get shit again. But if you're going to see an outcome of where it's at, it's going to happen, and these outcomes are going to happen, you'll see confusion, arguments, facades. And what do we see? We see that. That's so scary. Right? And so we get back to Australia. Right? And you don't really need weapons to defend. You just need people onto it and know they're onto it and ready, stuff like that. It helps you defend your country. So if you've got that, don't worry about it. They say you haven't got enough army and all these, because history has proven that people with all these toys, like say 100,000, went against 10,000 with shovels and spades, but they fucking knew how to throw them well and knew how to hide well and knew when to go in and not, as I was talking about before with China, just kicked their ass. Because they come in and it's like, we just got toys, people kind of thing. Been whipped or sort of in submission in a lot of cases. And so they can't really think. They got a queen behind it in a lot of cases. But if you have everyone be a king and queen in a lot of cases, when you die, you know your country can still fight because someone else goes, we don't care, we've got principles. We've been learned. We can fight without, we know what to do next. We're dying over there, Colonel. All right, my dude's down, I'm a colonel, I'm not stupid. I'm going to do what I do. Right? And we're going to, over there, quickly get another person that can help us put all together and piece it together quicker, but we're going to still be something. And then there's a lot of countries that can't. There's a lot of colonels, like in North Korea, that actually always got to say, because these colonels, you know how you know they don't, because they've got to ask for the last say. And so they really don't have a say, because without North Korea the leader, you can give them the last say. They can't do anything. They just sort of fake facades of power. If he agrees, you're like, that's what they are. But you want the ones to go, fuck, he's breaking the laws. Well, we just know the laws, so you can't have this country get deceived. These people would keep their leader in line where the other people come. And you want that one the strongest possible and last as long as possible. And with those laws. But so far, human history has not held that because other countries are coming in and overwhelmed or tricked and deceived and collapsed like they did with the Trojan horse, which is war tactics. We haven't got to that part yet. But anyway, get back to Australia's got China. Now America's getting an attack. We can't get help. What are we going to do? There's our last outcome. You get what I mean now? Look at that. And if you're those smart people, you can do war tactics and come out like you see in World War II and in movies where French did it. Resistance, they like to call them, right? But you need smart people for that. So even resistance know that. They go, we can't have any old sheep. They blab too. They're weak people. Sheep are weak and there's certain things. But you want the strong ones, don't you? You want what they used to say about Australia back in the day. You don't fuck with them or what they used to say about the old barbarians. Oh, they're smart, they're on it. They don't fight each other. And when they do, they always make sure they make up and go, yeah, we're okay. You all right? You just don't fuck my sister, okay? Yeah, no worries, mate. But I deserve that. And not be a lefty and go, he hit me! Fucking family, everybody! Fucking forever fucking winching! In that one scale and so on and so on and so on. You want a place goes, things happen, people have a fight, he might have come in and went, I'm a big fucking man, what are you going to do, boy? But in this country, you'll have another person go, you're going to face me. Why did you do that? My ego? Boom! There's mine, mate, because I don't like people like you. Right? You have more of them around, better country, I reckon, because they go by principles. What they're defending there is principles, right? But if you just have, we can just make a law up here and there, and there's no real Bible principles, real proper principles, and good principles would get that, huh? And it's just defending the principles, right? But we don't have that. We have people go, there's principles, but I'm not getting involved with that. Oh, no, and all these things. They're weak. They don't have honour of their principles. Huh? Only a few do. Only a few got it. Only a few have got the heart, stand up, courage. They need to go see the wizard. Get some fucking courage from me, right? to stand up to their principles. And when your principles you stand up to, because you believe and you know with your education that you've gotten the righteous way. That's righteous principles. Then there's just principles of I can do over you. We all want to be big people like what Hitler did. We all got blue eyes. We're all good looking. Right? And we're going to fight for that. Well, there's just balance principles. There's principles there. We've learned all sorts of things. And which principles do you want to learn? And mainly B and pick and choose. And we're all lost in that when it comes to those principles. And if you had that, that guy wouldn't last too long. And in the end, it quickly balances out, right, because of the principles. But if the evidence land confused and loophole here and there, I'm going to bring in a lawyer over here, I've got money. Here's a big loophole, these people's in the Devilville. I've just got more money. Well, toys, as I talked about. You had nothing, and when I know you have nothing, like I talked about why Japanese come in because I know things are weaker, I'm going to definitely take more abuse of it. I could do anything because I got so much money. If I do lose, I'll just pay him $100,000, but I earned $100,000 in 3 days, and I just took away 4 years of his life. I'll do it again. That's how they do it, people, because it's not bad enough. Huh? The outcome's not bad enough. It's like a kid going out and doing what he wants all day, and all he's going to get when he comes back and the parent goes, oh, that's it, you're going to get your smack. And they lean over and they go, naughty, and they go to your room. And then he'll go do it again because he'll go, oh, that wasn't too bad. And if that's all I'm going to get, that won't stop me if I'm having too much fun. Huh? Maybe you have to do that and ground and so on. But you'll find you don't even have to smack or ground. You can do lots of steps. I've learned a few. I spoke about some. Huh? But you don't have to do those other ones. Everything has another way, and there'll be another righteous way. The righteous way takes usually a little longer. So speaking another righteous way, waiting time, stuff like that. But it's worth it because you get right. But when you do the other way, you just lost. You're in a circle. You're losing. You're lost in a time. As this world's still trying to speak about it, they've got it so right, it's dying because they're in that circle. They haven't been able to stop it and progress and move on and get things right because they haven't got their principles right collectively. And over here, he's just sitting, that one over here going, I'm going to wish it all out, what are you going to do? And he goes, I don't know, I'm too scared to die. Right? And then all of a sudden, you're going to die because we need to hear. Right? This is what happens in a lot of cases, why people need other people's lands and stuff like that. It's because their tyrants already overwhelmed their land and took all the resources. So they need more. Right? Or they did well with it and they want more. Right? Well, they failed. Either way. So what are you just going to do about it out there? When it comes to all that story. Is that a hell of a scary story? You know what plan I've got because of that story? You know what you could do about that? And it won't work for everyone. Everyone can't do it because then you'll all be seen. Huh? And it'll be all too late. It's a sad thing. But I guess you all dig a hole near certain areas. You can all maybe do the same thing again to quickly get down. But I'll just grab my shit and go fuck and get out of here. Or you hope that you're educated enough. And what's plan B if you can't on that? And my plan B, if I can't get away, then I'm going to go, well, I'm worth something and hopefully do what everyone did in France is you've got to work with them and hope that it does change or you don't get so bad because you need it. So you've got to become needed. So if you're a person that's a million of years can do the same thing or you can't even do what a million can do, then you're crew member number 2 like in movies. Easy sacrifice, a slave. You want to hope you can get away. Right? Otherwise, you're going to be in a bad outcome or die in the war because you're nothing. Easy to get resources, that's what humans become. And so you want to hope you're something different, something that's not many of, right? And be worth something to them. And anyway, because if you're not, you're just a sheep, well, a lot of them is going to get bad outcomes. Some of them even get the train one. Right? They didn't. They get deceived. At first, it's deceit. Right? Even when they go, you've got work, and they can work you to death. Deceit. And that one's so easy to do. Definitely for the ones that go, hey, it's all right, son. Let's just go. They said this. You hear a lot of churches. Some people say churches gullible, right? Because they say that. And then, God's on our side. But if you are, that could be gullible. But definitely if you know there's no God and your way's not really right. So you want to hope it is. Because in the end, you'll end up becoming gullible, which is what happened to a lot of them until they end up realising shit and it was right in their face and enough time where they could just walk into the slaughterhouse like shit. Or do it themselves. You can get used to fight each other. So it's less to walk in. which is what they try to do with the Jews, but the Jews didn't fight too bad amongst themselves. They did the right steps by leaving or standing in there. But they failed by being gullible in the end of their belief that everything could be okay, and it wasn't. Then you see. Anyway, have a good one. We'll see you later. And you know the worst thing about that story? Is that it's the same problem they're doing now. You know when, here's a quick example of what could be happening, while I'm explaining that could be happening when it comes to Israel and their retaliation and how they're attacking a small area, because they're a big threat to a small area. So they're like able to be the Hitler thing where they can come in something small, or what how China can do to certain countries, as I was just talking about. And so it's up to them. They're more, into God's eyes, they should be doing the right thing. Otherwise, they're going to get big punishment because they're attacking a small group, right? And they're doing genocide, pretty much, starving people, claiming one thing and another. Because if they were saying what was true, then why are we getting the outcome that others are claiming? That's how you know the truth, by famine and dying, and that's what we see. And if it's not, if it's so true, then why aren't people allowed in there, right? So if you get these problems, the best way to solve it is let them in, and if they want to kill themselves or get died, let them. Don't you? Tyrants will use, we're doing it for you, so you can't come in, right? That's what tyrants use. But in the end, it's your life, and that's how you find out they're a tyrant or not. If they're righteous, they'll go, well, it's your life in the end. If you want to go in, that's what humans do. But if they're not letting you in to see, and other people, like I talked about before, a country should just go there and go, no, I'm here and you fuck with me. I'm going to know it's them or not, so you need a powerful enough country with some toys, just like they are themselves, that they're doing to these people, bigger than the terrorist group, so you got some big fancy toys. They wouldn't want to fuck them, they'd be stupid to do that. And you can find out some truth to the world by able to have a safe zone with these places to get those truths. This is what we're meant to have, but if we've got to learn to deceit and disinfect it now, isn't it? But anyway, see you later.